Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to another Motion.io live stream. This format of this live stream, we do this every month, and what I kind of do is I recap everything that we've released over the last month or so. And so today we're going to kind of walk through all of the changes this week, the previous week, the week before that, and we'll talk about what's new in Motion.io. But as always, as I go through the different features, functionality we've added in the last month, be sure to interrupt me with questions. You can ask your questions just by writing into the chat. Doesn't matter where you're tuning in from, whether that is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you're tuning in from. Just write in the comments with your question or the feature or functionality you want to see, and I will be covering it in real time. So excited to dive in here. I got my big old coffee here this morning. Keep that energy up. So if you're watching live, I would love to know where you're tuning in from. I'm joining you here from Denver. Actually, no, not Denver. I live in Denver, but I'm joining you live from the Motion.io World Headquarters in Louisville, Colorado. So feel free to write in, tell me where you're joining us from. I always love to get a little more information on that. I think it's kind of fun to see people all across the world tuning in. So, but actually next week I am headed out tomorrow to Portland, Maine. If anybody lives up in Maine, my parents live up there, going up there for a little vacation. So that'll be fun. So with that, let's go ahead and I'm going to start the way that I almost always start these live streams, and that will be by looking at the Motion.io changelog, which is where basically all of the updates, all of the things that we've added to Motion.io are going to be, are stored. We update this once a week, and you can see it right here. That at Motion.io we ship almost every Wednesday, and barring the occasional week where we might release something, on a Thursday or maybe skip a week because it's a big update. Almost every single week we ship an update every Wednesday. So let's go ahead and let's actually start back at the bottom of the month here. And there's some really fun stuff that we've added to Motion.io, improvements that we've made. So first off, earlier in the month, we did an initial round of mobile improvements to Motion.io. So this is actually something that's been kind of a theme throughout the month. We've been continuously improving our mobile experience because we found out that so many of our customers, the first time that they were using Motion.io, whether it was from the admin or client side, it was oftentimes from a mobile phone. So we've really done a whole slew of improvements there, making Motion.io faster, easier, smoother on your mobile devices, to the point now where it operates amazing. I was just using it actually a ton this week when I was doing some QA work, and then actually just checking in on some internal projects I was running on my mobile phone. And I was just amazed how much better it is. Really slick, really smooth. So right after that, we've done a big overhaul to Motion.io's file management system. And to sum this one up really quickly, basically what we've done is we've made it so that our file management operates a lot more similar to the platforms that you already know, use, and love. So the natural example there, and the one that so many of our customers are often using, is Google Drive. So what you'll find now in Motion.io is that our file management system operates a lot more similar to that. And I will walk you through how that works, the different things that you can do with it in just a bit here. Next week after that, on the week of June 11th, that release, this was on the surface, it looked like a smaller release, but we really focused on fixing a lot of things in Motion.io, as well as making a lot of smaller improvements to existing Motion.io functionality. So that includes improvements to our onboarding flow, as well as improvements to just task utilization of clients, making it faster, easier, better for them to complete tasks and help keep your projects moving. Up above that, the week of June 19th, this was a really big update for us. A lot of cool stuff here. You'll see that once again, this included some big enhancements to mobile, some adjustments to notification for messages in your client portals. And then the really big feature that we actually spent a couple of weeks working on is our new AI clients feature. And with this functionality, what it allows you to do is add simulated clients to any project to test your workflows and experience them from a client's perspective. And the really great thing about this, if you're asking, hey, why would I want to use this, is that when you add an AI client to a project, it allows you to stop using your own customers as guinea pigs for your new workflows and the various optimizations that you might want to make. What it will do is the AI clients will go through that project, complete it as if they are a real life client, and then you'll be provided with various insights after that project is done and as the AI client goes through the process. And this makes it really, really easy to see, hey, how long would this task take? Is there maybe an automation? Is there something that I could do to simplify the process of a client completing this specific task or stage? And you get all of those insights more or less instantaneously. So instead of waiting a couple weeks, a couple days, even months for a real client to go through a process, you get all of that in just a couple of minutes. So I'll be definitely showing you how that works as well here. And then this week, for June 25th, this update focused on, once again, some smaller things in the platform, but a lot of them. So a lot of smaller improvements, adjustments to existing functionality that are really focused on fixing various paper cuts that people had identified over the past few weeks. And this is something that we do more or less now once or twice a month, where a development cycle will focus on, hey, what are the things that users have been reporting that we could make a little bit better? What have they said that they were getting hung up or stuck on, whether that's from the admin side or the client side? And this past week, we did a lot of those things. So this includes better clarity for project tags. We had a few users write in saying, hey, it would be great if I could see all of the tags for a project without necessarily having to click another drop down or fully go into the project. I'd like to be able to see that right from my dashboard. So we went ahead and did that. You can also now download entire folders in the files manager. This is something that got missed from our big overhaul of the file management earlier in the month, and we went back and now provide you a really easy way to download an entire folder all at once, because we know that is something that can be really useful, especially if you are sharing folders or uploading them to other services. We've also done a really big change to our activation for draft tasks. This might seem smaller on the surface, but it's actually extremely useful and really can save you a ton of time. It's something that I've started to use in so many of my projects. Basically, when you click into a task now, if that task is in draft and you're looking at the preview of it, you can activate that task in a single click without having to navigate away from it. So this is really great if you've just maybe set up a task or you create a new task in a project and you instantly want to send that off after you've created it. But you want some context on what is included in that task outside of just the title and who it's assigned to, that basic information that you can see from the tasks list. We now have this one-click activation for draft tasks. That's a really nice quality of life update there. So with that, now that we've covered the various things that we've released over this past month, let me go in to my Motion.io account, and I'm going to show you around some of these various features, starting with the features that we added and the functionality we added at the beginning of the month, and working all the way up to today. But if there is something that would be really helpful for you to see as we went through our changelog for the past month, let me know. Happy to skip ahead. Happy to even pivot away to things that are updates or features or functionality outside of this month. So just let me know. With that, I'm going to take a sip of coffee here and let's get into my Motion.io account to show you around. Okay. So I am here in my Motion.io account. And one of the first features that we had talked about and that I mentioned was included in this update uh, that I think is really helpful to show off here on the call is our new and improved file management. So the way that you can access file management in Motion.io, and this works a really similar way of whether you're in projects or templates. All you have to do is click into a project and then click Files within that project navigation. So what you will notice here now is that this is a totally refreshed view and way to manage files in Motion.io. And it offers a lot more flexibility and a lot more customizability that our customers had been asking for. So by default in Motion.io, there will be a client files folder after the client uploads some files, but you can create as many of your own folders as you would like. So I'll just call this, let me create a new file called, or a new folder called Add Creative. And the way that file management in Motion.io works, as a quick refresher, any files that your client uploads or that you send to a client are going to appear here. For clients, if they upload something to their portal or to a task, they will automatically have access to those files unless you go in here and hide them or something. But they'll always have access to the files that they upload. And then if you want to give a client access to additional files that you've uploaded throughout a project, doing that is as simple as dragging them into a folder. So I had two pieces of Add Creative here that I'm going to drag into the new Add Creative folder that I set up, and then clicking Share in Share in Portal on the folder that you want them to have access to. And you can see when a folder is shared, meaning that a client will have access to it in their portal, you'll get a nice little notification that says just that. This little green check mark indicates that, hey, this folder and the files within it are shared in the portal. Within all of your folders, you're also able to set up as many different subfolders as you'd like. And with the exact same process as it might work for the top level folders, you are able to either share those or hide those. So for example, let's say I didn't want the client to have access to this website wireframe images in the client files parent folder. All I'd have to do is go into here and click Unshare from Portal. Client will no longer have access to view or download those files. One of the great things about the way that file management works in Motion.io is that you can also set this up in templates ahead of time. So for example, hopping into my templates, if I wanted to go into this digital advertising template, and I know that for these types of projects, I always want to create and use the same folder structure every time, I can easily set that up ahead of time, and the folder structure that I create will automatically be carried over to all new projects. And I'm just going to delete these two folders. I was doing some testing earlier and added those. And this also includes things, when you are setting up templates, like let's say that there is a file that gets included for every new client. So for example, I'll create a folder here called client guides. And let's say for my clients, every time I welcome someone on, they're going to have access to things like a client roadmap or sort of general like best practices, a guide for working with you. You could upload those types of files directly to a folder ahead of time. Share that folder in your template, and then anything you add to this client guides folder, your client will automatically have access to. And like I said, really great for stuff like standard operating procedures or general instructions for working with your team that every client needs access to at some point, and you want to just give clients access to those files every time you create a new project from one of your templates. And I see we have our first question. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Mary Kay Hill asked, if we create a task where we ask them to upload files, are we able to choose from existing folders? Yes, absolutely, Mary Kay, and I will show you exactly how to do that. So the way that you would structure this is, so let's say you have, let me just think about this. Let's say for every project, you have a task where a client is going to upload some brand assets. You want to place those brand assets in a specific folder. What you could do here, and let me just create a new project from this template real quick, just to show you the beginning to end process. So I've created a new client project from that template you just saw me modify, and you can see that this brand assets folder is here, but there's no files yet because the client hasn't provided them. To test this, and this is actually really cool, I am going to skip ahead a little bit, but this is like the fastest way I can show you how to do this on the live stream. I'm actually going to add an AI client to this project to walk through in real time how this would work once your client uploaded files. So to add an AI client, it is super duper easy. All you have to do is click add user to project, click simulated client. And then I've created my AI client here. So I'm going to assign them. And what I'll do for, and I've actually already kicked off these tasks. So let me wait for the AI client to complete this upload brand assets task. And then we'll show you what the file management area of Motion.io looks like. So let's see. Okay. It looks like they have done this. So I'm just going to wait for them to mark it complete. Actually, I'll just mark this complete on the client's behalf. So my AI client uploaded logo files, a brand guide, team photos. And now I'm going to head back to my files library. And I can see within my files library the exact tasks associated with the client or with the files this client uploaded. So for this upload brand assets file, these three right here, I'm just going to go ahead and drag those into the brand assets file that I pre-created. And then I can click share in portal with them. I could if I wanted to as well. I didn't do this in my template, but if I had selected show in portal in my template, this would have automatically been visible. But for this example, I just went ahead and shared it now. Oh, and so sorry. I realized that I had forgot to click share on my screen there. So I was jumping around to a couple of different tabs and I must have paused one accidentally. So let me just actually go ahead and redo that. I'll walk through it again for you. My apologies there. Sometimes when I'm doing things live, mistakes can happen. I do all of this on the fly, so I do apologize that I wasn't sharing my screen there. So I'm just going to run through this quickly. Again, I'm going to go ahead and click create project. Title this example project. And then to add my AI client, what I will do, and sorry, I was just deleting a team member there. What I'll do is click this dropdown, add my simulated client, assign them to all tasks. And I'm just going to give my AI client a couple of minutes to complete these tasks. And it's thinking. And let's go ahead and look at the brand assets task. So cool. My AI client, Professor Grayson Swift, MD, has uploaded their logo files, brand guide, team photos. Some of these photos that the AI adds can be, not exactly what the task is asking for, but that's okay because it's just an example. It's, really used for you to test this workflow, make sure that they're uploading files into each category and then completing that versus getting things 100% accurate there. So with that, I'm going to mark this complete on behalf of the client. And you can also see here that if they were a human, this task would have taken 5 minutes. Now that my client has uploaded these brand assets, I'm going to jump in here to the files. And cool, you can see that for that brand assets task, they have added 3 different files. And just as I was explaining a little bit ago, I pre-created this brand assets folder. What I'm going to do is simply just drag these files in there. And then I'm going to click this Share in Portal button. So now my client will have access to those files. So it's really as easy as that. Mary, you can pre-create that folder that you want those files to appear in, and then just simply drag them into it. There isn't a way at the moment to associate them to a specific folder ahead of time, but you can pre-create that folder. I do think, however, that might be a really great idea for us to consider in the future. And one question that I might ask to clarify is, if we were to make that possible, where you could sort of pre-map the files to a folder, would that be something that if you could set it, for example, within a task, that would be helpful? So to just give you a quick example, like I think maybe what you're thinking of, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is that for this brand assets task, when I was editing it, maybe there was somewhere to declare a specific folder that these files would get sent to as a part of that file collection request. I think that could be a really interesting idea for us. And I am definitely going to log a feature request for our team for that. But tell me if that was, not quite what you were envisioning there. And we'll be happy to adjust. So with that covers most of what I wanted to talk about with file management. But if there are other questions, please don't hesitate to chime in. Happy to go into a little bit more detail about anything that you might want to know about files and folders. So, and Mary, thanks for adding some clarification there. Mary says, yes, that's exactly what I was asking. Having folders, something we can choose from directly from the task. I could see that being a really cool selection for us, potentially in the file request task type. So just to even go a little bit deeper into what I was mentioning here, for example, you could create a task, and if you chose the file upload options, maybe in addition to being able to add these collection names like logo files or brand guides, you could also potentially specify a file that was already in the project to add these files directly to. I like that idea. That's really, really cool. Really appreciate you sharing. So I also see we have a question from Eugene here. Is the client notified if you share a file with them or in the portal? So the short answer to that, Eugene, is yes. And I'm going to explain how, but it might not be what you are envisioning. So, but there is a way to do this. So when you create any type of task in Motion.io, whether you attach files directly, whether you attach files directly, I keep dragging this file into a browser tab and it keeps trying to open another tab for me. So if you attach them, or if you add a file to a proofing task, or if you include a file another way, the way that the client gets notified of those files are going to be through the task itself. Meaning that you either, you attach something as a file, you attach it as a proof, or, even maybe you added it as, into the description of a task. The client will be notified of that task. And the reason why we do this as opposed to like, hey, just any file you upload is The tasks that you send and the way that those notifications work, they're going to have context behind them. So a client's going to understand like what this file is for and why it should be used, or why you're asking them to review or approve it. We don't send notifications though if you would just upload a file directly. So for example, if I came into my example project here and I uploaded a file like this without attaching it to a task, it's not going to send a notification. And that's for a pretty specific reason. It's that when working with clients, what we've found and what we have understood from speaking with our customers is that clients don't want or necessarily need to be notified of every single thing. In fact, having that as like a default notification for every single file you uploaded would be a little bit overwhelming to clients. The great thing though is that if you just attach a file to a task, it's going to notify the client if they're assigned to that task. And it gives you a lot more granular controls over when and how clients are notified about the things that you're sharing with them. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, or if there's something else maybe that you need, a specific problem that you were looking to solve with those, maybe general notifications for client files, let me know, Eugene. Happy to talk about that in detail if you want to provide some additional context, but really appreciate you for writing in. With that, I wanted to pivot back to talking about AI clients a little bit more. And what's great is that you've seen in real time already here why AI clients are so helpful in Motion.io. I know I explained a little bit of it earlier, but even for me here, Mary had a question about, hey, how do files work when a client is uploading things as a part of a collection request? How do we move that into a folder? Instead of having to impersonate a client or go into their portal, I could add an AI client and just do that in seconds. And that really gets to the heart of why this AI client feature is so cool, because you can test things instantly, as opposed to walking through all of the steps manually, looking for files and things that you want to upload, or completing forms by just entering a gobbledygook of, mashing around your keyboard. You can have a simulated client do all of that for you and test your workflows instantly. One of the other great things about this that I haven't showed yet, and I actually missed this when I did a full live stream last week where I think I spent 45 minutes or so talking about AI clients. One of the things that I actually didn't show you, which is really cool, is that when you add an AI client to a project, you assign it, you activate those tasks, it starts completing them. You'll have this AI simulation tab over here that's going to actually show you an analysis of each task your AI client completed. And there's going to be insights here of, a sort of a top level of, hey, did this task work well or not? How long did it take? And you can use these insights to inspire improvements and optimizations you want to make in your workflow. So for example, with the tasks that I've tested in this project, my upload brand assets task, it says it was generally clear, but the request for file categorization would benefit from providing specific examples of suitable files. So maybe I take that into account, and maybe that's something I attach to the task. Another good example here is this complete onboarding form task, where the AI has given me insights that this task could benefit from additional context or guidance to clarify expected outputs. In essence, meaning, hey, some of the questions were a little bit unclear, and I can see that that was 15 minutes that the AI spent on that task. And then just below that, there was a task for the AI to sign a contract, and it says this task was clearly described and straightforward to complete. So great. I know that a couple of these are okay and good to go, but maybe there's a couple of other improvements I might want to make. Another cool thing about AI clients is that, let's say you have launched a new project and it wasn't maybe from a template, Or maybe there was things that you added to the project as time went on. And you said, hey, for example, in this Sonny's Sandos project, maybe these stages and tasks and I'm just going to clean some of this up here. Some of this stuff gets a little in the way because I use this for testing features and verifying things that clients have reported. So sometimes I'm creating a couple of things in here that I no longer want in it. But for this example, let's say that this onboarding and optimization stage down here, let's say that this is a new stage I just added. And I want to go ahead and I want to test like, hey, how would this work in an actual client project? Because I kind of added this ad hoc. I know I'm going to turn this project into a template, but I want to test some of this stuff here before I do that. This week, we added a new tab over here, this AI simulation tab, where you are able to turn this project into a testing project you can use and then have the AI run through it. So let me just go ahead and I'm actually going to pop into a different project here. Let's hop into this conference planning project. What I can do is I can click the prompt here and I will create a new AI test project from my active project. So I'll enter a quick title, example AI project. Cool, this project has been created. All of the various stages are here. And then all I have to do to run the simulation of this project is just go in, click on that tab, and I'll click here to add a simulated client. And boom, this client has been added. I'm going to assign them and then simply activate all of these tasks so the AI client can start running through them. And it's really as easy as that. And then as these tasks are completed, insights and analysis will start populating in this tab for you to use that information to determine where you might want to make improvements. So that really does it for most of the major improvements most of the AI client functionality. Have you gotten a chance to use this yet? If not, let me know. Has it been clear? Have you found AI clients helpful? Let me know. Interested in hearing your thoughts on this because I know I personally have been loving this functionality. It's something I'm using now basically every day in my work here internally at Motion.io. And I hope that any of the folks watching this have found benefit out of our new AI client functionality. So another thing that I wanted to talk about, something we just released this week, a smaller update, but really, really helpful nonetheless, is the new option that you'll have to activate tasks when you are viewing them within the tasks list. So I'm going to create a new project here, one without any activated tasks to just show you what I'm talking about here. So I'll click Create Client Project. And what I can do with this, I'm actually going to delete, and I'm once again going to add an AI client to this project, but I'm going to delete some of my automations that automatically activated tasks, just because I want to do these task activations manually. So, okay, I'll go in here, add my simulated client. Assign them to all tasks. And I'm going to create a new task very quickly. Let's call this review spreadsheet. And I'm actually just going to grab a quick spreadsheet file that I have on hand because I want to embed a Google Sheet into this task I'm creating. And this is also going to help highlight why I think this new functionality is so useful. So I'm just grabbing this link in here. I'm going to click the embed option, which if you're not familiar with, allows you to embed calendar software, invoicing software, any other type of software you might use, but also do things like embed Google Sheets, Google Docs, other things you want to make editable and viewable to your clients in tasks and in their portal. So went ahead and added that. And I'm going to assign my AI client here. And let me just really quickly here. Whoops, I was clicking on the wrong task. I was confused why the spreadsheet I embedded wasn't showing. And there it is. Sweet. So I embedded this spreadsheet for them to review. And I just wanted to make sure that this looked okay in the full task composer view first before I sent this task off. Previously, this option here, it said mark as complete. But now, if you create a task ad hoc or on the fly like this, what you can actually do is just activate it right from the window. And this is really helpful because you get context on what is the task you created. Oh, actually, I see before I activate this, I want to add some details. So I'll go ahead and do that and say, please review the spreadsheet below. Save that. And then I want to check out really quickly how this looks again. I say, oh, cool, great. This looks awesome. And I can see the client can edit it. They can click around here and I'm ready to send this. All I have to do is click activate task. And there we go. That task has been sent off to my AI client. So really useful feature, especially for things like embeds that you might want to preview first before sending. Another quick example of this is maybe you want to embed a video for your client to watch. So I will go ahead and I'm going to jump in here, just grab a quick YouTube video from the Motion.io channel. This is a fun video. Let me just grab this, go ahead and embed that. Whoops, I grabbed the wrong link. I need to grab the actual embed code. 1 second here. So I grab the embed code for my video, click save on that, save again. And let me go ahead and view this in the modal. Oh, okay. So what I noticed when I embedded this is I don't really love the way that YouTube standard embed code has formatted this. So I'm going to go back, jump in, edit my task, and I'm going to customize the iframe width a little bit here. So let's set this as, what are the standard dimensions? 1280 by 920, I believe. I think it's 1280 by 1020, if anybody knows. Oh, no, sorry, it's 1920 by 1080. Wow, I was way wrong on that. So let me adjust the iframe width to 1920 by 1080. Save task. And cool. And that is actually still a little big. I'm going to adjust that one more time. I'm actually going to 6. It's 1280 and 720. That's right. And that's much better. Cool. And if I was watching this on a wider screen, it'd be better still. So, but yeah, that'll work for me. So I'll go ahead, click activate task again, and that task is sent. A quick note on this video that I've actually embedded. This is something I just released last week. I sent an email about this video yesterday, But if you still haven't watched it and you're somebody who uses Go High Level, definitely recommend digging into this. It's a super quick guide. It's like 4 minutes long. And if you're using the Go High Level CRM, what I explain in that video is basically how to kick off projects from Go High Level by just applying a tag. And it's this fully automated workflow that basically tag gets added in Go High Level, send that information to Motion.io using Zapier. It takes literally like 4 or 5 minutes to set up. The video itself is only about 4 minutes long and provides everything that you need to know. So definitely recommend going to our YouTube channel and watching that if you're somebody who uses Go High Level and haven't seen that video already. And I will actually, just to make it easy, share a quick link here in the chat. So with that, I've really covered most of the things that I want to get through. There's a couple more things I could talk about, but I'm all about on these live streams every week. I want to make sure that I'm providing you, our users, our customers, the people who are tuning into this, the most value possible. So I'd love to know if you want to write in. Is there anything that you have been wanting to do in Motion.io but you can't figure out? Is there a specific feature that isn't maybe working as well as you'd hope, and you want to have me show you in real time? Please write in, let me know. I'm happy to go over anything that you might want to learn about here in our last 15 minutes. And Tanya, you are welcome. Hope that video will be helpful for you. It was one that was a super fun video for me to produce. I honestly love, like, one of my sort of best parts of like this job, and one of the things that I personally enjoy most, is I get a ton of satisfaction of like perfectly integrating tools together. I'm the one who really oversees the big things with like our CRM, our marketing automation software here internally at Motion.io, and that kind of stuff just gets my mind going. So this was a really fun video for me to produce. And what's great is that that workflow that I go through is super easy, really, really easy. Much easier than some of the workflows I've had to set up internally for things like HubSpot, which is much more challenging. I was pretty impressed how easy High Level makes it to connect with other apps. So definitely check that one out. A couple of other quicker updates I'll go ahead and share here. And I do see that Mary has written in with a feature request. Mary has asked, feature request. I want the ability to update portal pages globally for any project where that portal page is included. This is a really good feature request. Mary, I really appreciate you writing in. It's something we've been thinking about now for a little while. And we have our existing global update functionality. It sounds like, though, you're already well aware of that, because one of the limitations with our global update functionality is it only works if you add a new portal page. It doesn't work, or delete a page. It doesn't work if you want to just update an existing page that's there. So there is a really quick workaround for anybody who's new to this global updates functionality. I will just show you that quick, Mary, in case you don't know this. But what you can do is, if you have a template that you've used a couple of times before, so I'm going to pop into this brand redesign template. What I do have the option to do if I wanted to is, I have this page called example, and let's say I wanted to replace this, or I wanted to update this in some way. What I could do is I could just remove this tab entirely, which will remove it from all of my projects. But what I can then do is just replace it with the exact same tab. And this is a really quick workaround that allows you to update portal tabs without, even though you're not editing them directly, it takes nearly as much time as it would to apply that update. You can just delete the old page, add a new page, and Motion.io will prompt you to apply it to all projects created from that template. So that is a fairly simple workaround for you there. But I definitely agree. I think it does make sense for us to make it so that this The global template update can be triggered by edits and not just deletion and re-adding it. Yeah, and so Mary, thanks for that clarification. Yes, but if I delete the tab, then I lose all that info before it can get copied to a new tab. Yeah, so the quick workaround there is what you would do is like, this is, I'm just going to edit this really quickly to show you how it works a little bit more. So let's say I had a bunch of this stuff in a new tab or in a portal tab where I had, some text here. I had a YouTube video embedded. What I could do, and I admit that, it is a bit of workaround. Maybe it's not ideal, but what you could do is simply go ahead and just copy that information over. So you copy it over. Example. Okay. And I could even, like, if I wanted to, just open up another tab so I can even expedite this a little bit more, where I have that example tab, and then I just copy, paste, reset this. So what I would do first is I will add this new portal page, and then I can just delete the old one. So I do admit, yeah, little bit of a workaround there. It does work right now, though, if you do it this way. But I will definitely make sure that I get that feature request logged for our team here. And I really do appreciate you writing in and letting us know about that. So yeah, and it's also great to hear that Mary had wrote in and said, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, good to hear that that works for you for now. But I will make sure I get that documented for our team. And I'm actually just taking a note here for myself, so bear with me 1 second. Sweet. And if anybody has any other types of feature request functionality they're looking for in Motion.io, I love to surface those types of things on these live streams, because oftentimes there are features that people will submit requests for where it's like, hey, they don't know that there's maybe just a little bit of a different way to do it. Maybe there's a workaround. But at the same time, if there is functionality that you desperately need in Motion.io that would make your life a lot easier, I also really love to get that information. And every single time somebody writes in with one of those, I do log it for our team to discuss. So thanks again, Mary, for writing in there. One other quick thing that I was going to show you that I haven't yet, something we released this week. And sorry, I had to sneeze real quick. But one of the things that we had released just this week is that in your project's dashboard, what you'll see is we've made it much, much easier to view project tags that you've applied. So I'm going to move these example projects I created. I'm just going to delete them quick to move them out of the way. And then I'm going to add, these projects only have like 1 or 2 tags associated with them, but I'm going to add a couple of others to them. And then as a reminder too, I don't know if you knew this, but using bulk actions in your project's dashboard, you're able to do all sorts of cool things, adding team members to projects, setting the status of projects. What you just saw me do there is I deleted projects by setting the status to delete. If you wanted to just move projects out of the way, but still have a record of them, you can use archive. And then what I can also do is add tags to projects in bulk for my dashboard. So let me add a whole bunch of tags here. I'm going to add really just every tag that I have in my account right now. The bookkeeping services tag. Okay. The needs follow-up tag. I'll also add this web design tag here. So like I said, a smaller change, but I think incredibly useful, especially for a quality life standpoint, where what you can do now is you're able to scroll over here, keep the name of the project there, and then you have all of the tags displayed right there ready for you to use. So if you wanted to take additional actions like filtering by specific tags, you're able to do so much quicker. and kind of just see all of the tags that you've applied at a glance. One of the things that I've found really helpful with project tabs, especially, this was an example that actually came up just this week here, is one of the customers I was working with. What they do is they actually provide and they add tags for every specific person on their team. So I could have a tag that said Sarah, so Sarah's project. I could add a tag that says Sam to indicate my projects. And then I could add those tags. So let me go ahead and I will add tags for or I already have tags for Sarah there. So I'm going to add tags for myself. And sweet, now I can very easily filter between them. Of course, there is a way to do this where you could sort by project owner. But let's say you had multiple people on a project, or you wanted to know what team it was assigned to. You could use tags in this way, and it's really helpful to quickly surface those types of projects. So for example, let's say that this is the design team. And then let's call this the marketing team. I could come here very quickly, see if what team this was assigned to, as well as filter between those additional tags that I might have applied. Oh, and I realized I was on the wrong screen again. My apologies there. I don't know why I keep doing that today. I think it must be because maybe I'm already in vacation mode a little bit. Like I said earlier in the stream, I'm leaving for Maine tomorrow. And I got packing on my mind and all of the things I need to do before I leave. So I do apologize for that. But what I was showing you here is that for the project tags, we've made it much easier to see all of the tags at a glance, be able to easily know what tags are on a project, and then perform various actions based on the tag that you see here. So really nice little quality of life improvement. Previously, what you would used to have to do if there was a project with a bunch of different tags, you have to click a drop down to see them all. Now we display those all at once, unless you're using a really small screen size. Then we do hide some of them, like if you're on mobile. But most of the time, you'll see all of the tags for a project at once. And this is, just a really nice quality of life thing. So with that, most of the things I wanted to get through here today, I covered. But if there are any final questions here in our last couple minutes, happy to answer them. As a reminder, and I make sure to point this out at the end of every live stream we do, if you do need assistance or help setting up your Motion.io account or have questions for us, be sure to write us at hello@motion.io. When you send an email here, it goes to our entire support team. We try and respond as best we can within an hour or less. Sometimes it does take us a little bit longer depending on how many things have come in that day, but we are super prompt with the tickets we receive and whenever somebody writes into that address. And our team is happy to help, happy to jump on a call, discuss with you improvements, optimizations you can make to your account, and happy to do so in a one-on-one way that's going to provide a ton of benefit for you. So make sure to get in touch with us. Happy to help out. And then just as a note, I will be taking a week off from doing our live stream, so I will not be back last week. It'll be the first time I haven't done a weekly live stream in actually over 3 months. I've been really consistent with these, doing them every single Friday, but taking a week off next week to see some family. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week next week. If you're in the States here, hope you have a wonderful time celebrating the 4th of July with your families and loved ones. everywhere else in the world, hope you're having a great summer. Unless you're in Australia, then it's winter. But once again, my name is Sam Chlebowski, one of the co-founders of Motion.io. I'll see everybody again in 2 weeks. Take care and have fun. Best of luck to you and your business. Bye-bye.